Hello YouTube, Mucklick here, and today we are trying out DPS Weaver to see how easy it is to pick up and learn and if you would enjoy it. As always, when I'm trying out a class I am not accustomed to, I pull up information. I pulled up Guild Jen's video because I like how, sorry, not her video. I pulled up her guide on how to play this because I like how she shows rotations, like Air 3, Swap Fire, Air 2, stuff like that. Whereas Snow Crows, I have to look up every single one of these. I think they're working on another way of showing the numbers, but I don't want to Google what every single one of these words is, so I use Jen to learn the rotation. What am I learning for this one? Now, first of all, I literally flipped a coin to decide if I was going to learn Power or Condi. It landed on Power. So I'm learning Power. This is the build. This is what I used. Over here, we're doing full Berserkers, Runes of the Scholar, Sigils of Force and Impact, and I'm using Sword and Dagger. After I learned it was Sword and Dagger, which took over an hour, I learned there was a rotation that also included Sword and Warhorn, and I was like, I'm not relearning the whole thing again. Additionally, there's a thing called Weave Self in Ellie, or Weaver, sorry, where you hit this button, and then you dance through all of the elements, and if you do it fast enough, then you get a buff for 10 seconds. And if you fail, you get nothing, Charlie. You get nothing. However, the rotation to properly weave self, the rotation to use your elite skill is longer than the rotation you repeat for the rest of the encounter. I tried weave self rotation once on the dummy. I did it successfully. I screamed, "Oh, I'm weaving!" And my damage went up a tiny bit. And I was like, this was not worth the work as a new player that was new to this. So I changed it to Glyph of Elementals to really, phone it in. So let's pretend I'm looking at a fight here and I am about to fight this cat golem. We are going to start like this. I'm going to do a demonstration real quick. Hit this, do that, do Air 3, swap to Fire, do 2, 4, 3, and then hit the other instant buttons. Go Fire harder. 3, 4, 5, 2, go Air. We just spam auto attack a few times. I can use the instant keys. Go Air again, hit Air 3. Then just keep doing 1, 1, 1, 1. Go Fire again, 2, 4, 3. And go Fire again, 3, 4, 5, 2. And go Air. And we can use the instant things. We're just autoing for a moment. Go Air again. And 3. And go Fire, 2, 3, 4. And do the Rain of Fire thing. And go Air. And just auto a bit. Use the instance. Go Air again. Use the 3. And I think that's enough of a demonstration. We're at 26k right now. When the target gets below 50% health, there is a trait that increases our damage, so it will go up a bit. The peak of what I was able to pull off was, I think, 32k on Bone Skinner or 30k on a Golem. Bone Skinner, you hit a little harder because you have the Laser Beam special action key. So, how does it feel? Do I even need to say it? All right, so I'm not even using water and earth. However, it feels like I'm juggling 4 weapons because I've got fire, 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 air, 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 and air, fire. So I had to basically learn 4 weapons over here and what to do on them. I had to learn a pretty complicated rotation, I feel like. I have all these buttons over here and they're all damage. Okay, now I'm not using Weave Self because I'm bad. I'm using Glyph of Elementals, but even Weave Self is damage. It's damage, 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 damage. Okay, so I've got all these buttons that do damage, and I am doing, after about an hour to 2 hours of practicing this, I am doing less damage than I did when I tried out Quickness Providing Deadeye for 5 minutes, okay? And on that class, I was holding down the 2 key. For the amount of work I'm putting into this, I would like to see it do, well, at least, it's tough to say. I was about to say I would love to see it do 10k more DPS for the amount of work I'm doing. However, I always, when doing these tests, I've been looking up the benchmarks of what can the people at the top of the game pull off. So the biggest Snow Crow nerds, they are getting 42,000 benchmarking Weaver. So if they just gave Weaver a flat 10k DPS bonus, these guys would be busted and then it would get nerfed later on because of them. However, I gotta say, I felt like for the fact that I provide like almost no CC and no utility, and I'll talk about that in a minute, I felt like the amount of damage I was providing was quite low. Like, why would I bring a 30k DPS Weaver with no utility when I could bring a 30k DPS Firebrand that has a mountain of utility, stability on demand, reflex on demand, it's just so much other stuff besides just damage. All right, the class itself. At my peak, I was pulling like 30k. I was in full Berserker's gear. I did power. I did a coin flip. Was it easy to learn? Ha! CC, very little. For example, Air 5 is a CC. So let's say I'm not in Air, okay? I have to go to Air. I have to wait 3 more seconds. and then I go air again, and then I can do air 5, which is a CC that knocks me away. There's not enough time in a real fight to do that. It's more like if you're in a fight and a break bar shows up and you happen to already have air 5 up, then you could use it then. But if it's not, you just pray everyone else is good at CCing, because it would absolutely butcher your rotation to try to do that. So this class, the CC, air 2 is a 100 CC, you guys, all right? 3 seconds of chill does like as much as that. This is hardly even mentioning. Yes, air 2 does one of the weakest CCs in the game. Congratulations. Now, you could bring, what is it? I think Arcane Wave is 200 CC. You could bring the Frostbow, I think is like 400 CC or something like that. Like, you could swap out a utility for more CC. Yeah, we actually looked it up. People are joking about downstate. We actually looked it up. The downstate CC 5 is actually tied for one of your strongest CCs for the kit that you are normally running. Ha. So there's that. But like everything else is just damage. Unless I swap some things out, we have like no utility. There is some utility if you bring it for certain fights, but just the built-in build that you're bringing with this build is pure damage. And like no boons. I don't think it has any blocks, no stability, no like crazy, and at 14k health. That is also with a level 10 Jade Core. I've got a level 10 Jade Core, and we've got 14k hit points. So extremely fragile class that it feels like it has very little CC, no utility, and very, very high effort to get mediocre damage. Now, this is my experience. I want to say again, this is not a guide. This is the results of me trying to learn it for like 2 hours and how I feel about it after that time. If you disagree, if you're a Weaver main and you're like, I got 70,000 damage, and you're just like shaking your jowls, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not coming after you. I'm just saying how this feels as a new player coming into Weaver after like 2 hours, okay? That's all it is. And I didn't even learn water or earth. I was just using the fire, air, fire, and air. That's pretty much all it was. So I, as a gamer right now, I don't see the point of this. I don't see the point of it, right? It's like I'm doing 5 times the APM of more than half of the other classes for less damage in melee range with no utility, crap CC. Like, I can't even be like, oh yeah, it might be fun for some people. Yeah, I guess a masochist? A masochistic pianist? A pianist masochist? I don't know. Like, I don't even understand the point of this. Like, if it were me, like, if you've got one class that provides really good utility and another class does not have utility and it's just damage, they should do way more damage to compensate for that. That's the balance I'm used to from an, ex-EverQuest, ex-WoW player, But this one is like, I'm barely keeping up with some of the other classes that had a mountain of utility, and this feels like it has none, and I have damage on every single button possible. But yeah, I guess that's it. So, I mean, short of it, did I find this fun? No, not really. It was kind of amusing just because chat was laughing at me while I was just going through the pain that is this class. Maybe it would have been a little better on Sword Warhorn, which was another build, but it took me an hour to learn the Sword Dagger build, and then I saw that Sword Warhorn was a completely different rotation, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this for another hour to learn Sword Warhorn. So that's how I feel about Weaver. I don't understand why it is. Sorry, Weavers.